28 days after her body was found in the trunk of an impounded car belonging to the pop star known as David.
The victim in the David investigation, Celeste, has finally been laid to rest. But justice? Still nowhere in sight. Her family is heartbroken, and the questions just keep piling up with no clear answers in return. My chest honestly felt heavy when I saw the photos from Celeste's funeral. It suddenly hit me that this wasn't just another case people talk about online. This was real life. Her family had to stand there and bury their 14-year-old daughter, niece, and cousin. You could see it in every face. The grief, the confusion, the pain that just doesn't go away. There were so many people there who clearly adored this young girl, and seeing that made everything feel 10 times more real. The pictures and videos from the service, people crying, hugging, holding on to one another. It's heartbreaking. It makes you angry that there's still no closure. How are we supposed to move forward when there are still no clear answers about what really happened to Celeste?
Last week, when crews were hauling out boxes and crates and bags and throwing them in a trailer, it was a very different scene from the actual move conducted by actual movers the week before.
And now, the autopsy report. It's listed as deferred. What does that even mean for her family? Are they ever going to know the truth? Could it end up being marked as inconclusive, leaving everyone in the dark forever? It's terrifying to think that after all this pain, they might still never get the justice they deserve. It's beyond frustrating, and it feels like there's something deeper going on that no one's talking about. Could there have been more done here? That's the question everyone's asking. But with how decomposed Celeste's body was, it sounds like the medical team hit a dead end. The condition made it almost impossible to piece everything together properly. No one even knows exactly how long she was in that Tesla, and that mystery just makes this whole situation so much darker. There are already wild new theories flying around, some saying Celeste hadn't been seen since early 2025. If that's true, it means she might have been missing way longer than anyone realized, and that's terrifying to even think about. We honestly have no clue what the medical examiner is really working with, and that uncertainty is making people lose faith in this whole investigation. They did confirm one thing: she wasn't pregnant. But that's basically all the solid info they've shared. Everything else feels vague, like they're holding something back. They claim she had been gone for weeks, but no one can even say how many. Weeks could mean 2 or 6. That's a massive difference, and it changes the entire timeline. Honestly, I don't even trust that they know the truth themselves. At the funeral, they tried to keep things private, putting up a large tent over the area where Celeste's casket was placed. There's even footage showing the moment her coffin was carried out toward the tent. And it's haunting. Watching her loved ones say goodbye, knowing there are still no clear answers. It's gut-wrenching. And the scariest part? There's this chilling fear spreading online that the singer David might actually walk away from all of this without facing a single consequence. It's insane to think that this man, with all his power, fame, and deep industry connections, might actually slip away from taking responsibility for a 14-year-old girl's death. The idea that he could weasel his way out while the evidence points right at him is sickening. Watching that funeral, it's impossible not to feel the weight of it all. I would have cried too. It's beyond tragic. But lately, the comments online have been absolutely wild. I can't even tell what's going on anymore. Are there really people out here trying to go against Celeste? Some are saying the cruelest things. One person actually wrote, "Why use a full-sized casket for a body that was dismembered and in advanced decay? Like, what? That's such a heartless thing to say. Of course they used a full casket. That's just standard. You're not going to put someone's child in a box? That's so disrespectful to even suggest." Then there are people deflecting blame, saying things like, "The police didn't hurt the girl. Be upset with her family." What? Why would anyone attack a grieving family like that? The outrage should be toward the fact that the investigation feels like it's moving in slow motion. People are losing patience because the police haven't made any visible moves. Some folks online even claim, dude killed her and probably had one of his boys dump the car. And honestly, that theory doesn't sound far-fetched. The vehicle was reportedly abandoned on a random street that just happens to be right near his house. Suspicious, right? But then the comment section takes a dark turn. Someone wrote something unbelievably cruel about Celeste, calling her a juvenile prost and saying she met the usual end. That's disgusting. Who talks like that about a child? The internet can be so toxic. It's heartbreaking to see people turning vicious instead of focusing on justice. This is exactly what happens when there's no action, no answers, and no accountability. People start fighting each other instead of the truth. You can feel the tension online. It's turning toxic fast. People are angry, confused, and full of theories because seriously, how are we this far in and still no one's been arrested? It's 2025. With all the technology we have, phones tracking everything, text messages, cameras, fingerprints, how could anyone possibly get away with something this big? It just doesn't make sense. And then came the latest bombshell, 911 call records obtained by the Daily Mail. Apparently, police were called to Celeste's home 33 times over the last 3 years. That's insane. The logs show that 11 calls came in from her home in Lake Eleanor, California before she disappeared, and another 22 calls happened after she was reported missing. That's a whole lot of chaos for one household. The report cleared something up, though. The calls weren't all about her disappearance. They were being made long before that, which paints a picture of a troubled, maybe even dangerous home environment. It shows that Celeste wasn't just a random runaway. She was a young girl trying to escape a situation that clearly wasn't healthy. When police are being called that often, it says a lot about what might have been going on behind closed doors. You can almost imagine how scared and trapped she must have felt. And then there's this man, David, with fame, money, and influence, acting like he could be her savior. That's how these predators operate. They find someone vulnerable, promise them the world, and then destroy it all. It's disgusting. And sadly, this is why so many Hollywood stars walk away untouched after scandals like this. They've got money, lawyers, connections, a whole system built to protect them. Regular people don't have that kind of backup. It's the ugly truth.
Yeah, he's got evidence, yet I can't say.
Well, okay,
Also, why are you holding on to evidence?
You don't want, it's
Devin, are you
evidence
calling
that
bullshit? Because I'm calling bullshit.
you don't want me to say it because
No, we
it's
don't.
sensitive.
Just think about it. When someone like David gets into trouble, there's a team ready to clean it up, spin the story, and bury the evidence. But if it were any normal person, they'd already be behind bars. It's so unfair. That's why so many people online are saying Celeste never stood a chance against a man with that much power. This case isn't just about one tragedy. It's about a whole system that keeps letting the same kind of people walk free again and again. So, get this. In Florida, a client was originally offered $350,000 by their insurance company. But when Morgan & Morgan stepped in, they fought hard and turned that into a jaw-dropping $12 million settlement. That's insane. Of course, results like that aren't guaranteed, but it just shows what this firm does every single day. They go head-to-head with massive corporations and win for regular people. And the best part? You don't have to deal with mountains of boring paperwork or pay anything up front. You can literally start your claim from your phone in minutes. Just scan the QR code on the screen or hit the link below. Seriously. Their slogan, "The fee is free unless they win," says it all. If you ever find yourself hurt or in a tough spot, check out Morgan & Morgan. It could completely change your life. Now, back to the case. Things are heating up again thanks to SF Investigates, also known as Steve. This guy's been digging deep into every corner of the Celeste situation, and he just dropped a tweet that's making waves. He wrote, "I'm starting to believe that the information I received claiming a family member messaged with Celeste in July was incorrect. Whether that's accidental or intentional by the family member, I'm not sure. That's a huge statement. It suggests that even within Celeste's circle, there's confusion, maybe even misinformation. Steve went on to say there's no solid trace of Celeste after early 2025, which basically lines up with the theory that she disappeared way earlier than anyone admitted. He also pointed out that the family events being mentioned, like parties supposedly attended by her relatives, all happened in 2024 during what some are now calling the missing but not missing period. That's when everyone thought she was fine, but she may have already been gone. And here's the part that makes it even more suspicious. The Tesla's registration expired in January 2025, and it was ticketed twice in late 2025 in Hollywood before it was finally impounded. Like, how does that even happen? A car just sitting around collecting tickets for months and no one checks it? Steve even admitted that some sharp people on Reddit and YouTube are tracking Celeste's online activity more closely than anyone else right now, which is wild. The internet detectives are doing more than the police, it seems. All this evidence, the expired tags, the missing timeline, the silence from her family, it's painting a picture that's hard to ignore. Something's not adding up, and people are starting to notice big time. At this point, I'm really starting to believe something might have happened to Celeste months before anyone realized it. Early in the year, maybe February or March. That's what people are starting to suspect. Think about it.
We're out here at what we know as Celeste's home that she lived with her family. And right over there is the beautiful memorial we have seen in her honor. But today we confirmed with a neighbor that they had seen a black Tesla coming in and out at all hours in the night. We can confirm it was when Celeste was still here and that it was near her home. Her home is right here. And the area that the black Tesla was seen was over in this vicinity. There's a parking lot in this area back there.
If her body was left somewhere sealed off with little oxygen and no insects, that would slow down decomposition a lot. It's chilling to imagine, but the lack of insects actually makes a difference in how fast a body breaks down, meaning she could have been gone for months without anyone even knowing. Steve, the private investigator who's been on top of almost everything so far, seems to agree. He's leaning toward the idea that whatever happened to Celeste likely took place around late winter, and honestly, his theories are usually spot on. Someone even commented, "Steve, the private investigator, has been right about most things so far, and he says he thinks within a week there will be an arrest." That's huge if true. Could we finally be getting somewhere? And speaking of new developments, there's been a ton of media attention swarming around Celeste's neighborhood lately. Reporters are everywhere, and one of them actually spoke with a few neighbors about that Tesla. Yes, the same Tesla that's been at the center of this whole mystery. Apparently, people in the area had noticed that car parked outside Celeste's home before everything went down. They said it would just sit there, unmoving, for days at a time. That's creepy, right? The neighbors didn't share too many details publicly, but News Nation even did a full segment on it, which only makes it feel even more serious. And honestly, that's what makes all of this so suspicious. The car, the missing timeline, the silence. Like they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. If the Tesla was really spotted there multiple times and the neighbors thought it was weird, then it definitely adds another piece to this dark puzzle. Something about this whole story just doesn't sit right, and it feels like the truth is getting closer to the surface every single day. At this point, it's hard not to believe it was him. You know that gut feeling you get? The one that never really lies? Yeah, that's the vibe here. Every piece of evidence, every weird coincidence, every quiet move just seems to circle back to David. And honestly, I've noticed something. Usually when everything points one way, it's for a reason. But suddenly, ever since David hired Blair Burke, headlines have started popping up everywhere claiming he's not involved in Celeste's death. Like, how convenient is that? These so-called sources keep saying there's no evidence linking David to what happened. Yet at the same time, we know investigators collected evidence from his home. So how are we supposed to believe this sudden wave of denial? And let's talk about who Blair Burke is. This isn't just any lawyer. She's a powerhouse attorney who's represented Harvey Weinstein, Lindsay Lohan, Kanye West, Mel Gibson, Britney Spears. The list goes on. She's known for getting celebrities out of the stickiest situations imaginable. So yeah, if David really did something, he's hired exactly the person who knows how to cover it up legally. What's even sketchier is that some of these articles saying David's attorney says no public evidence connects the musician to the teen found in his car don't actually show where she said that. I looked through one of the main reports, and guess what? The supposed quote isn't even there. So where's this narrative coming from? Who's pushing it? One law expert even told Boss One that David needs to keep his mouth shut and do absolutely nothing. They said he better be at home, not talking to anyone, not going anywhere, just doing exactly what Blair Burke tells him, right? That says a lot. When lawyers start giving that kind of advice, it's usually because they know any slip-up could destroy everything. Meanwhile, the LAPD released an official statement confirming what we already know, that Celeste's body was found inside the Tesla belonging to David. The car had been sitting parked for weeks before being discovered. So, let's get this straight. A young girl is found dead in his car? The car's been there for ages, and we're supposed to believe he's got nothing to do with it? Please, it's just too suspicious to ignore. Something's being buried. And not just the truth. Right now, the medical examiner still hasn't been able to determine how Celeste died, and that changes everything. Without a clear cause of death, investigators can't legally move forward with criminal charges. It's wild, but that's the system. They can't officially call David a suspect because, technically, they can't even prove that a crime occurred yet. The decomposition was reportedly so bad that it's left the entire case hanging in limbo. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. While all this is happening, David's out here being active on TikTok. Literally yesterday. People spotted his account following others, including Playboi Carti's new TikTok. Like, how are you casually scrolling social media while a whole investigation is circling your name? The internet lost it over that. One person on Reddit even wrote, "I don't support his actions, but the way y'all be stalking this man whenever he opens his phone has me crying. Nothing like spending your last days of freedom on TikTok, that line says it all." People are watching his every move, but the fact that he's still active proves one thing. Law enforcement hasn't seized his accounts or devices yet, and that raises serious questions. How can someone under this level of suspicion still have full access to their social media and phone? Meanwhile, a creepy new discovery popped up on Celeste's Discord page. Her bio reportedly changed at one point to include the letters KYS, which, heartbreakingly, stands for Kill Yourself. Then, out of nowhere, the entire bio disappeared. That's suspicious. Bios don't just vanish unless someone logs in and deletes them, meaning someone had access to her account even after she was gone. Who would do that? It's unsettling to think that someone could be tampering with her online presence, especially if it's connected to the investigation. These digital traces might hold answers, and if anyone's been in her accounts, that could destroy valuable evidence. And now there's chatter about Harvey, the man who runs TMZ. Yes, that Harvey. He's reportedly been doing live streams and dropping cryptic hints about what he knows regarding Celeste's case. If that's true, it's about to get even messier. Because if powerful media figures are involved or even aware of what's going on behind the scenes, it could mean the truth is being controlled, carefully filtered before it reaches the public. And that might explain why everything feels so secretive right now. The case isn't cold, it's being kept quiet. At this point, everyone's convinced that Harvey knows way more than he's letting on. And honestly, after watching his most recent livestream, it's hard not to agree. In the clip, Harvey starts talking about his connections he's supposedly been reaching out to for information about Celeste's case. But here's the weird part. He says every time he tries to get a tip, people hang up on him or straight up ignore his calls. That's sketchy. Then he drops this cryptic line. He says this case is different than anything else because nobody's talking. Like, how does that even make sense? We're talking about a high-profile death linked to a major musician. And suddenly, everyone's lips are sealed? Either people are being told to stay quiet, or there's something really dark going on behind the scenes. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Harvey's no fool. He's been in this business forever, so maybe he's pretending to be out of the loop on purpose. Someone even joked, maybe he said too much last time, so now he's acting like he knows nothing. And honestly, that might be true. Maybe Harvey's trying to protect himself or keep things under wraps until he's ready to drop something big. Still, we need answers. Real answers. It's crazy to think that with all the technology available in 2025, this case is still full of gaps. Where are the surveillance videos? You'd think by now, investigators would have gathered footage from every corner. Security cameras, gas stations, doorbells, everything. People in the comments even started mentioning their Ring cameras, saying things like, "Mine deletes after 30 days, so they better have already pulled all that footage." And that's a valid point. Every day that passes, more potential evidence could just disappear. If the police don't act fast, the truth could literally vanish with it. Something's being hidden, and the silence around this case is starting to feel intentional. Some people online mentioned they've got extended security storage, meaning their cameras might still hold old footage, so there's definitely something out there waiting to be found. But here's where it gets messy. Someone recently pointed out that Harvey is actually vacation buddies with Blair Burke, David's high-powered lawyer. Yep, you heard that right. If that's true, it could explain a lot. Maybe that's why Harvey's been quiet lately. Maybe he's holding back to protect someone close. And about that footage, if anyone saw Celeste walking out late at night toward the car, it might have looked totally normal at the time, since she was seen around the area often. But if nobody thought to save that clip, it's probably long gone by now. Most cameras auto-delete after 30 days, unless, of course, someone had the extended plan. It's frustrating because one tiny video could have changed everything. There's also this wild detail that keeps coming up. People say David's 3-car garage was basically turned into a mini arcade, which is why he never parked his car inside. That's why the Tesla was left outside, collecting dust for what looked like way more than just a few weeks. How eerie is that? A luxury car, sitting there untouched, while a major tragedy was literally hidden inside it the whole time. At this point, all we can do is hope that private investigator Steve and maybe even Harvey himself are right, that there's about to be real movement in this case soon. Because honestly, the idea of Celeste lying in her grave with no justice, no closure, and no accountability is heartbreaking. She was just a young girl, and no matter what her home life was like, neglectful or complicated, she didn't deserve any of this. Even in death, what's been done to her is deeply disrespectful and disturbing. It's painful to even think about how much she must have suffered and how her story's still being twisted around. All we can do now is hope that the truth finally comes out soon. And if you've been following this story, make sure to turn on notifications and subscribe to Unfiltered Tea, because we drop daily celebrity gossip videos every single day. Like, share, comment, and I'll see you in the next one, right here at Unfiltered Tea.